In this video, as it is a continuation of my previous videos, so this is the first step of all the 5 steps I mentioned before, which is thought process. So I'm going to explain in this video what do I mean by thought process or way of thinking. So as I said, a lot of people have worked on it. You can also search that. I'm trying to explain it through my way, so hopefully you understand. So you have to understand that you yourself or your conscience is different from your brain. So your brain is an organ, you yourself are different. So when something happens in your life, the brain responses the brain's default response is different from what you yourself feel it or you're supposed to do. So brain is basically hardwired to keep you safe all the time and keep you away from the change, because change means something is at risk. So the brain will stop you from changing, or the brain will give you the default responses so that you are safe. And once you are aware of this thing, that your brain, what your brain is trying to do, then you can stop it. I will give you an example. Is whenever you feel stress, or you have depression or anxiety or any kind of thing, or something bad happens in your life, so the default response of your brain is to panic you, to make you worry about it so that you go towards safety. And what we do, because we are not aware of this thing, we fall into that trap, we fall into the response of the brain. And once we fall into the response of the brain, then the brain starts controlling our consciousness. And then once the control is taken over by the brain's default response, then we fall into the trap of stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental disorders. But once you realize that, or you are aware of that default response, then you can fight it back. You can hold it back, because you know that this is not you. This is just your brain responding to something to keep you safe. So I give example of brain like stomach. So when once you eat food, your stomach does not understand what kind of food he is getting. So the stomach will absorb or digest whatever food you put in it, even if it is poison, even if it is good. So brain is just like stomach. All the things you see, all the information that is going to the brain is pretty much like stomach. So brain does not understand that this information or this response is not good for you, is not good for the health of the organs, other organs. Brain will just do whatever it is hardwired to do, is that is to keep you safe. Same is with stomach. Stomach is designed to digest food. As soon as you put something in it, it will start digesting it, regardless of you put poison in it or you put a very healthy meal in it. Stomach does not understand. Yes, when the poison will start affecting it, then the brain will respond to it, and then maybe something will happen. But otherwise, this is the philosophy, or this is the way the brain works, just like stomach. A good example to understand the thought process is people who have fear of height or fear of water. So let's say if you are standing on a really big high-rise building. Now you are standing in a very safe place, but when you look down, you know that you will not gonna fall. But because of the fear of height, your brain panics, and the default response of the brain is to keep you safe. So how brain will keep you safe is to panic you, to give you shocks, so that you back off and you don't do that, because brain is thinking that you are not safe. So what you can do, once you are aware that this is your brain playing with you, you can tell your brain that I am safe. You can actually talk to your brain. So this is the step you have to do. You have to talk to your brain. You can talk to your brain inside your brain, or you can talk it with mouth, like actual speaking words. But you can tell your brain that I'm not going to fall into your default response. So we are all different humans in this world. Some people are naturally born with this quality. They know that they are safe, and so they don't get scared when they are in a high building, or if they are deep in the water. They don't get scared because they know that their their consciousness takes over the default response of the brain, so they don't feel scared. They're fine with it. But other people, they get scared because their brain's default response takes control of their consciousness. So then they start feeling scared, they panic, they start sweating, shaking, whatever it is, different symptoms, as you know. But once you realize that your brain is actually playing with you through default response, you can overcome it by talking to the brain and telling yourself that no, I'm not going to fall into that default response. I'm not going to listen to that. I am safe, I'm fine, I know that, and I'm going to do what makes me feel better and what is right. So for example, if you are standing in the building and you are holding onto something and you're looking down, you know you are safe, you are not going anywhere, so you tell yourself, and that's how you overcome your fear. So this is just an example. This example, you can implement it in different aspects of your life. Whenever you hear a bad news, or whenever there's something bad happening in your life, a financial loss, um, your loved one has you have lost your loved ones, or you're going through a breakup, or you're missing your family members, different things, different things, we all go through that. So whenever we go through these things, you have to be aware of this fact that the brain is responding in a default response mode, and that is to panic you so that you go to safety, because brain does not know that what is the situation outside. And also another thing very important is that brain does not understand if something happened today or if something happened in the past. Whenever the memory is triggered, whenever the bad memory or the bad history is triggered, the brain will respond in exactly the same way as it is happening right now. But once you are aware of this default response, then you're gonna talk to your brain, and you're gonna tell to yourself that I'm not gonna respond to this, because if you let the brain default response take control over you, then you go into catastrophic effects, as I said, like depression, anxiety. So once you start fighting it, you talk back to your brain, and you make a habit of it every day when you wake up and before you sleep, through your day. Whenever you are looking, your brain is getting information, you're seeing bad stuff, or you're seeing anything that's going to trigger something. You have to constantly talk to your brain and tell your brain that I'm not gonna fall in the default response. And talking to your brain is not useless, or it's not like you're being delusional. This is just the this is just telling your brain to not rewiring your brain to not go into the default response. And the people who all these successful people in this world, or the people who have done really big courageous things in their life, and who are brave, are the people who already have this ability by birth, or they have rewired their brain, but they have this ability that they don't fall into the default response of the brain. So what you have to do is you have to rewire your brain, and that's how you rewire your brain. Once you make a habit of it, once every time something is happening, and it's not only related to bad stuff, it's also related to good stuff, like when you are overly excited, or when you are overly happy, or if you are waiting for something, your brain is constantly pushing you to follow the default response. But you talk back to your brain, and once you do not follow the default response, you stay calm, you take heavy breaths, then you are actually rewiring your brain. And once you take deep breaths, you are rewiring your brain. So talking to the brain is taking back control of the brain. And this is the crux of the thought process, is to take back control of your thoughts. Same is with the people who overthink. So overthinkers is the same thing. Once you experience something bad in your life, your brain start thinking for the worst possible situations. So, and why is brain doing that? Because brain is trying to make you safe. So once you're aware of that, so sorry I'm repeating this in a different way, but the purpose is to try to make you understand that how brain works, and how your conscience is very different from the brain. So different reactions, different default responses, and what's your job? Your job is to talk to your brain and hold back those default responses. And once you build a habit of talking and resisting these default responses, that's when you start changing your thought process. And changing your thought process is changing your rewiring the brain. And this change is actually the completion of first step. So this is how you achieve your thought process. I will make more videos with different examples to make you understand that how you can rewire your brain, how you can change your thought process and to not fall into the trap of defaults brain response. Thank you.